Going Back to New Orleans is the title of a classic song by one of the Big Easy's best, Dr. John. It's also a fair description of Chef Kelly Field's life. Raised in the low country of South Carolina, she took her talent for baking to New Orleans, then left for cooking school. She returned to become pastry chef under renowned chef John Besh, only to be driven out by Hurricane Katrina.
But sure enough, after years in San Francisco, it was back to New Orleans. Last summer, she became chef and partner of Willa Jean, a bakery restaurant. She also heads the pastry program for all of Besh's restaurants. We know this is going to be good then. Chef Kelly Fields, good morning. Welcome to the dish.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Tell us about what you got here.
We have pretty much a celebration of summertime in the South. So we have a steak with tomato panzanella salad with some grilled peaches, barbecue shrimp crostinis, a little stone fruit salad, and some marinated crab claws.
What's that thing down at the end of the table?
So excited.
This is a chocolate cake, which is pretty much
I've been
my
wanting to do a
favorite
face plant ever since I saw it, ever since it landed on the table.
That's not true. He usually wants to face plant into this. Tell us what we're also drinking.
The drink it's called the Dirty Water. It's a ginger brew, which is a rum ginger drink made in New Orleans, bourbon and green tea.
So I have to ask you, when we were introducing you, we said low country South Carolina. And I thought, what sort of food is traditional to that area?
It's very similar to New Orleans. It's a rice-based, a lot of tomatoes, and tremendous amounts of seafood is what I grew up on. So.
Your love of cooking really kind of caught fire on a high school trip to New Orleans, is that right?
My love of, yes, absolutely.
What happened on that trip?
Well, I went to New Orleans.
I know exactly what you mean. I mean, the food, it's intoxicating.
It absolutely is. So I went to New Orleans, fell in love with the city.
Yeah.
I mean, it just has a way of getting in your blood that is unexplainable if you haven't experienced it. And then the food, the culture, how all those things wrap together, it's home.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it seems like I've read that you have said a plate should tell a story.
Absolutely.
Did that start when you were in New Orleans, that thinking about food, a different way to think about it?
No, I think I was brought up that way. I grew up in Charleston on the water. My mother grew most of the produce that we ate as children. I would often get in trouble for eating tomatoes off the vine, like apples, and hiding it. But I think it allowed a sort of stage, a new plate, to tell that story, not necessarily a different way of thinking about it.
You've compared being a pastry chef to being a musician.
Yes.
Explain.
Yes. Pastry is often, people are extremely fearful of it.
Yeah.
I also, as somebody who would love to be able to make a lot of music, I'm fearful of that. And the styles of music and like improvisational jazz and how the tempo changes and how it tells a story that eventually comes full circle. Like, Louis Armstrong, his entire career is a big circle, and I think pastry is exceptionally like that.
How did you guys decide to do, because I know initially you thought just let's do a pastry restaurant. What made you think I should also do some savory dishes?
I always wanted some snacks because I really enjoy sort of the balance of sweet and salty. And then our guests, since the day we've opened, have been so supportive and so excited and enthusiastic about what we're doing. And they started asking for a little bit more, and now we have just a full service restaurant.
We mentioned this before. You had to, after Hurricane Katrina, you had to leave.
I did.
But you got pulled back. You had to come back.
Yeah. It's in your blood, just like the first time I went. I lived in San Francisco for a while after the storm. I got to travel a lot. Lived in New Zealand for a little while and farmed and cooked down there. And it just kept calling me back.
I dare to say it seems like you and John Besh are also like work spouses. I mean, you guys do a lot together and you influence each other a lot.
For sure. He's been my biggest fan and biggest critic for the past 20 years, and he has done nothing but make me better at what I do and who I am. So.
Well, as I hand you this dish, we want to ask you if you could have this meal with any person, past or present, who would that person be?
Oh,
I know it's a hard question.
It's an impossible question. My initial response is my grandmother, but the real response is Beyonce.
With like a wind fan and all. I love that.
Oh,
thing.
absolutely.
All right,
absolutely.
Chef Kelly Fields, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for more on
one for Beyonce. I love that.
And for more on Kelly Fields and this dish, please head to our website at cbsthismorning.com.